We have a broad synoptic pattern in place across the southeast. A building surface high-pressure ridge over the eastern US, and a weak, lingering frontal boundary, or decaying cold front, approaching the southern periphery of the region. This setup is generating a tightening pressure gradient, especially along the coastal zones, resulting in enhanced onshore flow and breezy to gusty winds. Moisture and convective potential remain modest for now, but the gradual return of lower-level moisture and the eventual front progression will set the stage for increased shower chances in the coming days. A key mechanism here: the high pressure aloft and at the surface is enforcing subsidence and drier mid-levels, which suppress deeper convection for the moment. At the same time, the tight gradient between the frontal zone and the ridge strengthens winds, especially along the coast and over the marine layer. For aviation and marine operations, this means VFR conditions hold in most areas, but expect gusty surface winds, reduced SIGs VIAS in any marine surge or sea spray situations, and increased sea states offshore. In terms of climate background, we're in the transitional autumn phase. Sea surface temperatures remain warm, keeping available boundary layer moisture and modest instability possible. But the intrusion of drier continental air behind the front is acting to temporarily suppress thunderstorm development. With the geography of the southeast, flat coastal plains into Piedmont, with barrier islands, estuaries, etc., the onshore wind surge and pressure gradient setup enhance marine and beach hazards, even while rainfall remains limited. Key takeaways for pilots and meteorologists: wind and turbulence. Onshore flow and a tightened pressure gradient lean to gusty surface winds along the coast, 15 to 25 knots with higher gusts possible. For landing/takeoff near coastal airports, expect crosswind components and possible wind shear near sea breeze fronts. Offshore marine boundary layer turbulence may also impact low-altitude flight segments. Visibilities and ceilings, mostly VFR. Inland in Georgia, expect early morning cooling into dry continental air, so fog risk is low. Along the coast, possible sea fog is limited by gusty winds. Nothing serious from a widespread IFR perspective today. Convective threat: minimal today across the board. The combination of high pressure, drier air aloft, and weak forcing suppresses widespread storms. In Florida, isolated showers possible near the sea breeze, but thunderstorm risk remains very low. In Georgia, negligible precipitation. Marine/coastal hazards. This is the dominant impact today. Strong onshore winds, building seas 6 to 8 feet or higher offshore, and elevated rip current risk. For flight operations over water, expect increased wave height and potential for wave spray at low altitudes. Climatology context: we're transitioning from the warmer, moist late summer pattern into a drier, cooler, in nights, autumn regime. The high pressure north of the region is typical for this time of year, giving the ridge onshore flow scenario. For Florida, this still means warm daytime highs, but nights begin to cool. For Georgia, the drying trend and lower humidity are classic mid-autumn features. Bottom line: today across the southeast, you're looking at a stable, mostly benign weather day in terms of major storms or precipitation. The real emphasis is on wind and marine/coastal hazards rather than rainfall. Florida's east coast deals with gusty onshore winds, building seas, and high rip current risk. Inland Florida is similarly breezy but dry. Georgia is largely dry, crisp, and under autumn-like conditions, with fire danger elevated inland. For aviation and meteorology professionals, the key is managing wind impacts, especially in the boundary layer near the coast, and monitoring for any low-level moisture surges or boundary layer transitions that might raise the convective profile. But for today, the convective threat is low.